Hey, this is Andrew Brown. I want to continue on with Lambda as there are just so many permutations of how you can deploy them, and I think it's worth our time to do that. So the last one we did was with Inline, and so what I want to do is make a new file in here, and I want us to basically locally zip it, right? So we have Inline, and so then basically I would say this is us building it locally and zipping it. So we'll go ahead and say new folder, we'll say zip local, and so we'll change our code. So we'll have to bring all this stuff over because all this stuff is really good. But we'll have to change our code to actually use this. So I had this function here that we ended up not actually using, this folder. So I'm going to actually move it into this one. Okay, and keep the other one nice and clean. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can copy this folder. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and paste this folder. By the way, if you need to install the SAM CLI, make sure you go ahead and do that. I'm just picking up from the last video, so there's no additional setup I have to do here right now. But I have my new bin directory. And it should be pretty darn similar in terms of what we did last time. And I actually didn't document this, but we would have to do build and deploy. So I'm just going to document this from before. SAM build, SAM deploy. Okay. So anyway, I want this bin directory up a level here. And we're going to go and also copy our template YAML. We'll paste this in here. All right, so the thing I want to do is change this inline code to actually reference this code here, which is very similar. The only mistake here is that this should say handler here, R. And for fun, I'll try to do a JSON object. So we'll just say print JSON object Python as an example. And I think this is a built-in library, so we don't have to do anything additional. We don't have to import it or anything. So, so far we don't have to deal with imports. We'll go ahead and grab this. Some JSON. I mean, I don't really need to load JSON. I just want to print it, like dumps. That's basically what we're looking for, is dumps. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this code here. Thank you, W3 Schools. And by the way, if you look into that, there's one person that owns it, and it's really weird. It's very hard to track them down. It's just them and I think their son, and they make a lot of money off of that for having it from such a long time ago. So we'll just say type, let's say zip inline. Now this is just an experiment while we're doing this to see if we get better output here. Version 1. Okay, we'll just say info, and then we'll dump that info, and then we'll print the results. Info JSON. Okay, but we'll go back over to our template YAML. So we obviously don't want to do inline code. And we'll open this up so we can go take a look at our reference here for our SAM function. And so if we don't have inline, we should be able to reference the code somewhere. Give me a second to look this up, okay? So we can use code URI, and it looks like we can either specify an S3 bucket or we can specify a path. So I think that's what we'll do here, is we'll just specify a path. Sometimes this is a bit finicky setting the code URI, so just understand we might not get it right the first time. I think normally what I'll do is I'll do like this. I'll say period / and then say function. I think we just need access to the folder. Yeah, notice it says / period on this. So this period's on the outside of it, so I'm going to assume that we just do this then. And so I'm hoping that it's as simple as this to get our code to go up there. Okay, so we'll just cd into our correct directory here, zip local. I'm going to do build, SAM build. And we'll take a look at our build folder. And notice we have our template here, so that is good. And we have our inline Lambda. So let's just see if it's changed any of the code. And notice that it doesn't look the same. So it shows code URI inline Lambda, so it's referencing this folder. It has some metadata. So understand there's some kind of transformation going on there. But again, I don't think we have to package it because it will just deploy from here. Packaging is a good thing because if we package it, then it's going to send it over to S3. And then we can use it there. But for now, what we'll do is we'll just leave packaging out of the equation. I'm going to go into our bin scripts here. And so this one's fine. We'll go to our deploy, and we'll change our deploy to be zip local. All right. We'll type clear here, and we'll go ahead and see if we can deploy this. We'll say bin deploy. And it says, unable to upload artifact inline lambda referenced by code URI parameter inline lambda. S3 bucket not specified. Use S3 bucket to specify a bucket name. So we do need to place it somewhere. So that's important. Normally I would provide, I think we would probably want to provide a configuration file here. So what I'm going to do is make a new file here, or new folder. File or folder, file. We'll call this samconfig.toml. And this has to be named this way so it automatically picks up. If we name it something else, then we'd have to specify its different name if we don't want to call it samconfig.toml. And so I have an example of one here. I'm just going to copy some of it here. And we'll go back over to here. And so what it's looking for is these parameters. So notice we have the package step, the deploy step. So this is in the deploy step that it wants it. And we're going to need a bucket for artifacts. So we'll just go ahead and make that manually. And yeah, we'll go create a new bucket. We'll just say, I'm going to do CA Central, so I'll just say my Lambda artifacts. Artifacts. I'm just going to put AB and just some random numbers because remember these have to be uniquely named. We'll go ahead and create that. I have the bucket name here. I'm going to go ahead and paste it in here. I'm going to set my region. I always operate in CA Central 1 as much as I can. There we go. We'll type in clear here and we'll give this another go. And it looks like it wants us to specify the S3 bucket, but we have it right here. So why would we have to do that if it's already here? Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I don't mind. Like we can do that here. We'll just say S3 bucket. But it should pick up the config file. So say S3 bucket. Let me just paste it in here. You know what? I think I'm going to specify the configuration directly because it should really pick it up. And I think we had this before here as a script. So we go into our deploy. Yeah, so I'm going to grab this here. Oh, we already have it up here. Great. And so I'm just going to change this to be Python. Or we can also just name it samconfig, just in case I'm naming it wrong for some reason. I'm just going to explicitly set it because it really should pick it up. And we shouldn't have to specify S3 bucket here. So go ahead and try this again. So it's saying it does not exist. I mean, it does. Is this in the correct directory? It is. Top level, yeah. And this thinks we are in Lambda. Okay. Let me just echo some of these things that like root path here. Config path. Now this is supposed to trigger a problem, like tell us it doesn't exist before it happens. So we'll go ahead and try this again. So zip local. It would make more sense for us to, oh yeah, it's going up a directory. Okay, sorry. Okay, so now notice that it's picking it up. So there was something weird here. Maybe it's named wrong, but generally it's named samconfig.toml. Default samconfig.toml name. Samconfig.toml. Did I spell it wrong? I didn't, but for whatever reason, we're explicitly specifying it. So that is fine. We could have also just put the flag in here as well, like --S3, whatever, but I prefer to load it via configuration file here. And so this is deploying, so I think it's working. We'll go over to CloudFormation. We'll just watch it as it's deploying here and wait for it to finish, okay? So that deployed very quickly. Let's go over to Lambda and see if we can take a look at it. So we have, well, that's our old one. We'll give this a nice refresh here. We'll go back into our functions. Inline Lambda. Why is it calling it Inline Lambda? Zip local inline Lambda. So there must be something that we didn't change the name here. Zip local Lambda. Well, what did we not change? Build. Deploy. I mean, we spelled Lambda wrong, so that doesn't really help too much, but and I guess it's still inline, but it's inline, but not in the code. Let's open up it with Sam here, build. Yes, it's inline Lambda. Okay, yeah, so it is deploying it, that's fine. It's just the naming makes me think of the last one that we did there. And so notice we have some issues to your environment variables here for quick reference. Use the keyboard shortcut. That's not a problem. I think it just doesn't have anything open right now. So we'll go ahead and open this up. And let's go over to our test. And we have to make a new one because this is a different a Lambda, right? So we'll just say hello world. And this will be Andrew Brown. We'll go ahead and do this, and we'll save it. We'll go test this. We have a problem. No module named index. We'll go look at our code here for a moment. This is called function, and this is called handler. So that's our problem here, as we would have to rename the file to index. But I'm going to go ahead and just change this over to function. Okay. Obviously, you'd want to do that via CloudFormation, but we're just, or SAM, but we just want to get this working right now. So we'll go ahead and test this again. So now we get hello world. There is an error key, so there is a slight problem. It might be with our test. Let's go back to our test here. Yeah, we didn't name these keys properly, so we'll say first name. Last name. And we'll save that. We'll test this. X is not defined. So there's something wrong with our code. So we'll go back to our code here. And the folder here is called function. I'm just going to change this to function. And we'll go back into our actual code. And so it's talking about X. Yeah, right here. Okay. So I'll just recompile this. So say build. And you really do have to check it because sometimes it doesn't replace it, eh? Requirements.txt not found, which is totally fine. We're not doing that right now. We will open up our inline Lambda. And I just want to confirm that it's updated. Yes, it is. It's good. Okay, we'll go ahead and deploy this. Is it deploying? Did it run into a problem here? No, it's just still going. It's just taking time. There we go. We'll wait till this finishes, okay? All right, so that was deployed. Let's go take a look here and see if there's any change in our code. I'm gonna give this just a hard refresh on this page here. And we'll go ahead and trigger our test. And it succeeded. We have our message. I wanna go over to monitor and I wanna see what that JSON structure looks like. And I wanna emphasize that it's really useful to output as JSON because if you do, you can ingest it into CloudWatch logs. You can dump these into, well, they go into CloudWatch logs, but you could stream it into S3 buckets. You could then query it using Athena. So this JSON structure is very useful as a format for your logs. So here it is, and if we expand it, yeah, see, it's already parsing it. So that's what I was talking about. You just have to have a JSON string and it will do that, which I really like. But yeah, I mean, I think that covers what we wanted to do in this video. So we'll go ahead and tear it down, and obviously we now have a bucket. I'm gonna keep that bucket around because we're gonna use it more than once. Let's just make sure we go over to CloudFormation here. Okay, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, ciao.